Hi guys, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video you're seeing me, welcome to my channel. Please hit the subscribe button if you've not already. I post Monday through Saturday. So today in this video I'm going to do my top 10 preferences to knitting that I prefer that some people don't. So I thought this would be a fun video to do because I want to talk about things that I prefer in knitting rather than some people do. I see a lot of people actually prefer certain things in knitting, like some people will prefer this, some people will prefer that, but here's some of my own personal preferences. And just a disclaimer, I'm not saying you have to do any of these preferences. These are my own personal preferences from my experience of knitting, and I'm going to get started. If you guys knit and you have any personal preferences in knitting, just let me know what they are down in the comments below, because I would love to hear what you guys prefer. If they're a little slightly different than mine, then that's totally okay. We all are different in different ways. So I'm going to get started. So number one on my list would have to be metal needles. So these are metal needles. They are by the brand, if you can read that, Boy, which also makes crochet hooks. So I prefer these when it comes to knitting because I find that the tips don't wear out as much as like plastic or wooden needles. I always love knitting with metal needles just because I find that the tips don't wear out as much as other knitting needles do, because like the wood wears out, the wood gets all like chipped and like worn out on the bamboo needles, and the plastic ones, the tips wear out easily too. But these ones, I find that they don't wear out as much. Number 2 on my list would have to be the continental/European style in knitting. So the continental style is when you hold the yarn in your left hand. Now, a lot of you guys know, if you watch my channel, you know that I am right-handed. I knit with my right hand, I write with my right hand, wow, that's weird, and I crochet with my right hand. So, but whenever I knit, I put the yarn in my left hand because I find it's like much easier and much quicker in my opinion. I know a lot of people do the American method, which is when I watch YouTube a lot, I notice a lot of people actually do the American method or the English method in knitting, which is holding the yarn in your right hand. But I just don't really like it because I don't think it's quick. I prefer the continental method because I find it a lot quicker, because then I don't have to hold my needles together while wrapping the yarn. I can just pick it up, hold the yarn in my left hand, and then pick it up with my index finger and stuff. So I knit continental and I purl continental. I just find it's just a lot quicker because I love getting stuff done. Number 3 on my list would have to be a row counter. Now this is a row counter. You can actually buy these at Joann's and Michael's. I got this one from my aunt and uncle for Christmas, and this is a very special present because this is like one of the last presents that I got from both my aunt and uncle together when my uncle was still alive. And I use this pretty much every day, so thank you to my aunt and uncle. I love you both so much because this is such a big help to me because it saves a lot of trees for me. Because a lot of you guys obviously know paper is made out of trees, and I don't like wasting too much paper, so this is a big help for me because I use this for when I'm knitting a lot, and it's makes a clicking, and it's very helpful to keep track of my rows. And you can get those at Joann's or Michael's. I don't know how much, I forgot how much they are, but you can get them at Joann's or Michael's. Number 4 on my list would have to be a crochet to weave in ends. And so, this is a crochet hook. You can get these at Michael's and Joann's again. Okay, sorry, bird feed. So this is what I use to weave in ends because I do cut my ends pretty short. I know a lot of people weave their ends in with the tapestry needle, but I personally don't like weaving in with the tapestry needle. If my strings are too short, I just use a crochet hook because I find it just much easier, in my opinion, to weave in my ends. And it's just very helpful to me, and it makes it much easier to hide the ends. I do use a tapestry needle, but I only use a tapestry needle if I crochet sewing machine doilies because I find it just much easier. Number 5 on my list would have to be bright colored yarn. Now, I love working with bright colored yarn, so let me show you what a bright colored yarn looks like. This is really soft. Sorry. This is Aqua by Red Heart. This is by Red Heart Soft Baby Steps. I know it doesn't look that bright on the camera, but it actually is really bright. It's like a bright kind of turquoise color. I know it doesn't look turquoise on camera, but it actually is kind of like a bright turquoisey blue in my opinion. And it's such a pretty color, and it's super duper soft. And I think that bright yarns are great to work with because they're so easy to see what you are knitting, and you don't get get confused of where your stitches are. Whoops, that fell. Nope, well, sorry. Number 5 on my list would have to be the thumb cast on. I know a lot of you guys have obviously seen me do this in my knitting tutorials where I cast on with my thumb. So basically what I'm doing, let me show you an example. As I'm wrapping the yarn around my thumb, and I'm picking up from the front, and then I'm casting on. That way. So that's how I actually cast on. So I prefer that. I know a lot of people actually don't do that method because, I don't know, a lot of people like the long tail cast on, but I don't really personally prefer that because with that one, I get confused and it makes me think that I've already knitted a row. Because the tail, let me show you a quick example of the long tail cast on. Yeah, crackers. Oh, this is fun. Watching me pull up my yarn. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to be funny. So this is the long tail cast on. So basically what I'm doing is I'm picking up from my thumb and then grabbing my index finger and then dropping the loop. So this is the long tail cast on. I personally hate this cast on method because it just not that I hate it, it's not a bad cast on method, don't get me wrong, I find it super fun to do, but I don't prefer it when it comes to knitting because it confuses me and it makes me think I've already knitted a row because the yarn right here will go in front. And then when you knit, so basically when you knit this direction, the tail is in back, like that. And that makes me think I've already knitted a row due to the fact that the tail is in front with my working yarn. That's why I don't really like that cast on method. So, it's not that I hate it, I find it fun to do, but it's just I never ever use it because it just is the most confusing method to me in knitting. Number 7 on my list would have to be a double pointed needle for cabling. So let me pull out a double pointed needle. So this is a double pointed knitting needle. This is what I use for cabling because actually I don't have a cable needle. I actually do not have a cable needle, so I was watching somebody knit cables and they were showing how to knit with a cable needle, to knit with a double pointed, you do cables with a double pointed needle, and it works just as well as a cable needle does. And since I don't have a cable needle, I actually do use a double pointed needle. It's just what I'm used to, and I think I did have a cable needle, but I have no idea where my cable needle went. So I just do this because I don't have a cable needle. needle, and it works just as well. Number 8 on my list would have to be worsted weight yarn. So let me show you guys what worsted weight yarn looks like. So this is worsted weight yarn. It's like a little bit of a bulkier yarn. This is just great for beginners, or if you're a beginner knitter, because like it's easier to see your stitches. I personally prefer it mostly when I'm working with certain hats because I find them find it super easy to work with. Because I find it super duper easy to work with, and it's like easy to see my stitches, and then I don't have to worry about losing stitches. But it just all depends on the project that you're doing, because like the type of yarn is the most important part when it comes to knitting a project, because like then you can see your stitches, because then your hat won't turn out too small or too big. Number 9 on my list would have to be using my hands to make a pom-pom. So I'm sure a lot of you guys saw my pom-pom tutorial. So whenever I knit, whoa, this is tangled. Oh, no, it's not. So whenever I make a pom-pom, I have to wrap. I actually do this because I actually don't have a pom-pom maker at home. You can use a pom-pom maker. I actually don't know where. I think you can buy them at Michael's. I have no idea how much they cost though. So this is how I make a pom-pom, is I wrap the yarn around my hand. And my pom-poms are really bad. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw my terrible pom-pom tutorial when I'm in my first beginning YouTube videos. So I would just be doing I would be knitting pom-poms. I'm not knitting pom-poms, excuse me, making pom-poms, and all my pom-poms would end up like balling the yarn out because I was not very good at making pom-poms, and because I would never tie the yarn tight enough, the center yarn tight enough, and I only just did pom-poms because my pom-poms that I was supposed to make would either require cardstock or sorry, my nose is itchy, or a pom-pom maker, but since I didn't have one, I would just use my hands, and it kind of turned out fine until I cut it because I'd forget to trim the edges. Number 10 on my list would have to be binding off with a crochet hook. So basically when I would be knitting, I forgot how to bind off. So whenever I would knit, I forgot how to bind off properly. So basically, this was when I first started knitting. I actually forgot how to bind off. So what I would do is I would slip my knitting and put my working stitches backwards on the needle. Like I would put like the working stitch backwards on the knitting needle. I hope that made sense. If that didn't, I'm really sorry. That's the only best way I could explain it. And then I would take my crochet hook and then just grab both loops and pull it through, and then I would do it across. And this was like because I couldn't remember how to bind off, and I would do it that way, and then my stitches would pretty much end up loose. But it was just really hard for me to remember how to bind off, so I would use the crochet hook in order to bind off because I forgot actually how to bind off properly, so this would help me. Okay, so those are my top 10 knitting preferences that I prefer, but some people don't. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any requests, do leave them in the comments down below. And please like and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!